Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of boxing. And in this bonus content video for you guys today, I'll be sharing my fight summary on last night's fight between Devin the Dream Haney versus Vasiliy Lomachenko. So yesterday, it was a great day in the sport of boxing. Yesterday was a great day in the sport. We saw two undisputed championship fights throughout the day. In the United States time frame, we saw during the first fight that we saw, the undisputed championship fight was between Chantel Cameron versus Katie Taylor, which was a undisputed championship fight at 140 pounds. We saw Chantel Cameron successfully retain all of her undisputed championships at 140 pounds, which kicked the day off for a great day ahead of boxing. And it was a great day. That was the first undisputed championship fight, followed by the undisputed championship fight that we saw in the lightweight division between Devin the Dream Haney versus Vasiliy Lomachenko. It was an incredible event. It was an incredible fight that took place last night in Las Vegas, Nevada. But we saw Devin Haney beat Vasiliy Lomachenko by unanimous decision to successfully retain his undisputed championships, the WBC, WBO, IBF, and WBA championships, to remain the undisputed king at the lightweight division. But I'll be honest, I really thought that Devin Haney did win this fight. There's a lot of people that have their own opinion. That's what makes these conversations great. That's why I create these videos for you guys to talk about what it transpired. There was a lot of people that believe Lomachenko was robbed of this fight. I disagree with that. I thought Devin Haney won this fight, but the one thing I do disagree with is the unanimous decision. I don't believe this should have been a unanimous decision call. It was too close of a fight for all three judges to be unanimous. I do believe that I don't believe that it was a unanimous. I think that Haney should have won by split decision. The fight was very close. But the one thing I have a problem with is one of the judges, Dave Morati, that called the fight 116-112 in favor of Devin Haney. That was a terrible call. If you're gonna have you have the luxury of having the job and calling one of the biggest fights of the year, being at the judges' table. You gotta call it right down the middle. There was not no 116-112 in favor of Haney. Absolutely not. That was a terrible call. And also, Dave Morati also ruled Devin Haney won round 10, which Vasiliy Lomachenko, that was his best round throughout the entire fight, was round 10, when he was opening up with several combinations and had Devin Haney about to be dropped for the first time in his career. By any means, he was the worst judge by any means yesterday. The judges' scorecards yesterday. I'm definitely upset with him in the way he called this fight. But the other two judges, I do agree with those calls. I do believe the way I was scoring it, I would say it was 115-113. Like two other judges, the judges' scorecard called it. I think those are accurate calls because of how close the fight was. The way I was scoring it last night, I would have said, the way I had my scorecard, I would have said I had Devin Haney winning this fight 7-5 in favor of Devin Haney winning 7 out of 12 of the rounds. I thought Vasiliy Lomachenko honestly could have stole the fight in the 12th round. The mistake that he made in this fight was not letting he let his foot off the gas pedal in the 12th round. You got to go all 12 rounds all the way, and he kind of he didn't deliver in the 12th round like I thought he would, the way how the fight was playing out. Devin Haney won the 12th round. I think that's really what led to him winning this fight, because it was so close. There's not really a wrong answer if you guys really had Vasiliy Lomachenko winning this fight, but by any means, it was not a robbery. I do believe the right man won. Devin Haney won. In my opinion, should not be a unanimous decision. I think it should have been called by split decision because of how close the fight was. But both fighters looked great last night. Definitely proud of what both of the fighters brought to the table. Definitely an incredible event out there in Las Vegas, Nevada yesterday. Great pay-per-view that Top Rank put together. And I'm proud of both fighters and what they displayed. They brought a lot of attention to the sport of boxing. That is what it's all about in the calendar year 2023, as these big fights continue to be made and continue to deliver. Devin Haney and Vasiliy Lomachenko put on a great performance last night. Kudos to both fighters and bringing love to the sport of boxing, something that the sport needs right now. So what's next for Vasiliy Lomachenko? Well, unfortunately, he did not achieve his goal that he had set out in one day to be an undisputed champion at 135 pounds. Unfortunately, he fell short of his goal last night, losing to Devin the Dream Haney. And he won't be undisputed at 135 at this particular time following last night's loss. But he proved last night age is just a number. He's 35, but he looked flawless in there at the age of 35. Just proved that age is a number. He looked really good. He showed great footwork, showed great display of combinations. Definitely was having a great success to the body. Like I touched up on the fight prediction, that something that Vasiliy Lomachenko had to do coming into this fight was touch up on Devin Haney's body, something that Jojo Diaz had a lot of success with. Vasiliy Lomachenko went ahead and touched that body. He had a lot of success doing that, and proved that he's still a tremendous counter puncher. So there's no shame of Vasiliy Lomachenko losing this fight. He looked great, and it just proved that age was just a number. And based off what I saw last night, I believe he has a lot left to prove. At 135, he wants to stick around. I see some big fights still to be made for him at 135. I would love to see a rematch right off the bat. If we could get a rematch again, run it back between Vasiliy Lomachenko and Devin Haney for undisputed championship fight again. It was a lot of fun watching, but in reality, I don't think that Devin Haney and his camp are going to give Lomachenko a rematch. But there's still a lot of big names to fight at 135 if Lomachenko wants to stick around. He could get a fight with Shakur Stevenson. That's a good matchup. A fight with Gervonta Davis. That's another good matchup. Or a wild card matchup. I do believe that him and George Kambosos could put together a good fight as well. So there's still some big fights for him if he wants to stick around at 135 pounds. But it wouldn't surprise me if he moves down to 130. And the only reason why I say moving down to 130 is reaching his goal that he had in his boxing career. A goal that he wants to achieve by the end of his boxing career, I should say. And that's being an undisputed champion. I think he could do that at 130 pounds. But right now, at his age, it just seems like it's too little too late for him to be undisputed at 135 at this particular moment. But he can cheat. Lomachenko is far from done. He proved that last night, looked really good in the ring, has a lot to offer still in the sport of boxing. So what's next for Devin Haney? Well, I'll tell you guys, Devin Haney has a bright future in boxing. And I love the persona, what Devin Haney is becoming. Yes, like I said, a lot of people out there in Vegas, you could tell by the atmosphere, what I was watching the pay-per-view at home, you could tell a lot of people in Vegas were actually rooting for Vasiliy Lomachenko to beat Devin Haney. Something that Devin Haney did during the during the weigh-in Friday was push Vasiliy Lomachenko, and that fired up a lot of the boxing community wanting Lomachenko to beat Devin Haney after that occurred. And what Devin Haney is doing, he's found a persona. He is becoming a villain persona, something in like wrestling, a heel, a bad guy. That is what Devin Haney is embracing now. That is what him and Bill Haney are embracing, the villains, the new bad guys of boxing. And Devin Haney needs something like that. He embraced it on his social media actually this morning or today when he posted pictures of him still being the undisputed champion at lightweight division. He needs to embrace the villain role. That is something that he can become a draw with if he's the bad guy. And that's something that he was lacking in his career thus far, as having a character that can sell big fights, because this was just his first big pay-per-view in his young career. He's only 24. But if he could bring that villain persona to fight the big names in the sport of boxing, that's going to go a long way for Devin Haney. I'm glad he found that. He's embracing it. But moving forward, he has a lot of options to turn to. He is still the undisputed champion at the lightweight division. But now the interesting thing is he's a free agent. His contract with ESPN and Top Rank officially ended after last night's fight. So now he is set to be a free agent. So Devin Haney can control his next path in his career. He can either re-sign a new fresh deal with Top Rank, he could go to Showtime and the PBC Productions, or he can go with Eddie Hearn and DAZN. He has a lot of options to turn to. So it's going to be interesting to see where Devin Haney fights next and where he finds his new promotional home next, or if he re-signs with Top Rank. But after picking up the biggest win of his young career thus far, Devin Haney has grown a bigger target on his back. We've seen that Shakur Stevenson was in the ring last night, chopping at the bit to talk to Devin Haney after his biggest win of his career. Was something I thought shouldn't have happened. I thought it would have been a big moment for the sport of boxing again to see those two guys match up again, talk trash to each other to set up a potential fight by the end of the year. Bill Haney, Devin Haney, and the rest of his team walked out of the ring as soon as Shakur Stevenson got in for an interview. But Shakur Stevenson has the right to do this because he is the mandatory for Devin Haney's WBC championship, which obviously that would lead to a undisputed championship fight if they fought. So he has that option to turn to. Deep down inside, I do believe that we can wait for Devin Haney Shakur Stevenson matchup down the line at 140, 147 pounds. I think it'll just be better because we all know that Devin Haney's struggling to make weight at 135 pounds. So what better way to stay at 135 than get a shot at Gervonta Davis? Deep down inside, I know that Devin Haney wants that fight next. Deep down inside, I know that Gervonta Davis wants that fight next. That's personally the route that I would go if I'm Devin Haney. You get a big payday. You can prove that you're the biggest shark in the waters at 135 pounds by defeating the biggest name, potentially defeating the biggest name at 135. But the storylines there, the bad blood, the sparring, all that stuff is there between him and Gervonta to have a big fight by the end of the year. That's the route I would go. But we'll see what's next for him. There's also a possibility that he moves up to 140 pounds following his fight with Vasiliy Lomachenko. He wanted that fight for legacy. It was no secret that Devin Haney has been struggling to make the weight at 135 pounds for a long time. He's been at this weight since he's turned pro in his boxing career at the age of 15, 16 years old. So to me, he got the legacy win under his belt by defeating Lomachenko. I wouldn't really surprise me if he decides to move up and vacate all his titles moving up to 140 pounds. I do believe it's a true possibility. But if he moves up to 140 pounds, there's a lot of fights for him to be made up there as well. He could potentially fight the winner of the big 140-pound fight that we're going to see in the next couple of weeks between Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. He could get a crack at the winner of that fight. We could potentially see him fight Regis Progress for a WBC championship fight at 140 pounds if he successfully retains his WBC championship next month in June. Or he could easily go after the weakest link at 140 pounds. And right now, that's Rolly Romero, who is the WBA world champion at 140 pounds. Got that last week from probably the biggest robbery in the sport of boxing that I've seen in a long time. Tony Weeks needs to be fired right off of the sunset as a referee. But nonetheless, that's an easy win for him to get a championship at 140 pounds because Rolly Romero is the weakest link at 140 pounds. But Devin Haney has a lot of options. He could either fight Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson next at 135 pounds, or he can move up to 140 pounds and make that division even more interesting by fighting the big names of a Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez, Regis Progress. There's a lot of options for Devin Haney, so it's going to be interesting to see what path he takes in his young career next. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Tom Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.